Greetings. This is another Chosen One message. Okay, so we are going to talk about the word understanding. So firstly, I just want to say one of my favorite Osho quotes is "Love is appreciation, not possession." And I saw this quote and really had to think heavily on it during a rather codependent relationship I had in my high school years into college. And it really showed all the shadow sides of me. It really showed the aspects of myself and my family of feeling abandoned or left out or, scarcity, consciousness, all those things, all those yummy, shadowy aspects. Now, I love that quote and meditating on it. Love is appreciation, not possession, because it also is quite biblical. God does not ask us to scrutinize, to try and get to the meat and potatoes and to interpret his path in another person's life. God does not ever ask us to play God either and tell other people what their path in life should be or tell people what their path in life is not. In fact, the Bible is full of so many people who have to go through very set traumatic experiences and sinful experiences for them to create the relationship with God that God has planned for them to have. People have to experience things for them to have certain relationship with God. And that's what I love about our God, is he is a relational God. Jesus is a man of relationship with God. He actually wasn't a man of religion at all, which is just basically rule following and dogmatic, follow the rules. We're following the leader. We're following the leader. Jesus was about relationship. He was about the people. He was about compassion. And sure, if certain people aren't doing, what he loves, it's not like he's going to become best friends with them, but he's going to lend a healing hand on that person, pray over that person, create healing in their life, and then carry on with his prophets and his crew in life. So it's like we are at a precipice right now on the planet where too many people are trying to understand other people's journeys, other people's life paths, and God did not ask us to do any of those things. And again, Osho as well, love is appreciation, not to possess, not to understand. Now, what is the definition of to understand? To understand someone is to interpret a thing and view it in a specific way. So if you are interpreting something and you're viewing it a specific way based off of your interpretation, you've ruined all the beauty and all the authenticity of that thing. You also are not just simply appreciating. The unconditional love cannot live in a space of judgment and trying to understand, trying to interpret information and then compartmentalize it and put it in a box is not unconditional love, understanding, nor is it appreciation. It actually stops one from being able to access those things. And I think so many relationships in today's day and age would actually get along so famously if instead of trying to understand one another, they were just simply trying to appreciate and learn where that person was at in their relationship with God and their relationship with themselves. And to just step back and to appreciate where someone is at in life and to have the respect to understand, I just don't think we're on the same frequency. We're not on the same vibration. So maybe this needs a break. Maybe we, instead of trying to force something to work and trying to make them understand or them trying to make me understand, because that doesn't do anything. That doesn't work. And literally God doesn't ask us to do that. What if I step back, I focus on my own crops, I focus on God's seeds that he's planted in my own heart that I have not been watering because I've been so wrapped up in trying to understand or trying to get my partner or my work or my family to understand. It's like they're not meant to understand. When I started reading energy years ago, it definitely there's like a starkly uncomfortable sensation between me and my parents, and it's like growing up in a Christian household and just doing wedding photography and being very in line with things. It's like now, we don't know about this, but after me just releasing the need to be accepted by anything other than what God planted in my heart, tens of thousands of reviews later of international clients, not only do I have a stack of proof showing that what I do is literally of 1 Corinthians 14, 1 through 25, where God commands us to prophecy over the people for their betterment, for their encouragement, for their vitality, for their health. And that's exactly what I do in my readings. And I help people. And because I work in this way that God planted, instead of it being this thing that they are trying to understand and scrutinize, and so by understanding, they're viewing it with a specific label set on it, with a specific interpretation, even though God did not ask anyone to interpret and to understand your purpose, the purpose that he put in your life. No, he didn't ask that. So it's funny because it's like, you, for a lot of my chosen ones, you're following the God seed in your heart. And just like Jesus said, they will hate you because they hated me first. Literally, that is biblical. That is from the Bible. And Jesus says, it's going to be lonely. You're going to be walking alone. That is part of the path with God, because there is going to be a time when, if you think of a blank canvas, God needs your canvas to be blank, and you become the energy that you hang around. It's like watercolors. So if you always have a friend group, if you're really close with family, if you're really close with this, a really tight-knit workspace, he can't do the greatest works in you in those moments. He will bring you back to community, but he needs you alone with him first. And for some of my chosen ones, you might be scared. You haven't gone through a full, you've had a few dark nights of the soul, you may say, but you haven't gone through a really long period of aloneness with God. And it is in those moments and full aloneness with him that I'm a full believer, because of my own experience and a lot of the experiences of my over 18,000 clients in the last 6 years, expressed and showed me. I've witnessed it almost 20,000 times with my clients. So again, I've done well over 10,000 hours. I well have over mastery when it comes to time in that. And what I've observed is people have to, at one point, God plants a seed in all of us, and we all have life experiences through our life, but there are certain check marks in life where God's like, all right, now, in a perfect world, if you really are going to be accountable, if you really want to listen to me and follow your highest calling, this is where I'd really like to get you. So proud of you, love that you're here, but I brought you here because I really want to get you here. But to get you here, I'm going to need to pull you away. I'm going to need to pull you away from family, pull you away from friends, pull you away, and I'm going to need you alone to me so that I can whisper to you and I can speak into you what it is, my purpose for you, without the noise of other people's opinions, or without the noise of other people trying to understand, or you trying to help others understand what you're doing. When again, it's none of their business. It's not their job. It's not their thing. Like, God didn't make it a thing for other people to understand his purpose in your heart. They can either appreciate and view, they can either find beauty in it, they can find something creative or inspirational or healing in it or courageous in it, or maybe interesting and confusing and something for them to think about, and maybe uncomfortable, but not judgment, but okay, like I see that that's how that person is, and carry along. And it's interesting because we are at a time where what's happening is a lot of the people that are getting pointed the finger at, because like me, the people that are pointing the fingers are realizing they're actually the ones doing the thing that they're accusing the one that they're pointing the finger at. Because again, you're trying to judge, you're trying to, people try and do the most when they don't like how another person is living their life. And that literally just sends them straight to Mr. DeVille down in HE double hockey sticks. And then it's funny because it's like, then those people wonder, oh, this must be, and it's like, no, it's your own hatred and your own need to be right, need to play God in other people's lives, your own need to judge what God planted in another person's soul. That is what led you to HE double hockey sticks, not that person listening to God, helping others, inspiring others, healing others, and putting an impact on others because they've been through multiple dark nights of the soul and multiple years of complete solitude, loneliness, celibacy. They've gone through those experiences. So there are different levels to life. There are people who have gone through multiple lonely experiences where it's just been them and God. And then there are people who feel that calling, but they still have FOMO, they still have fear of missing out, and they just feel like they absolutely can't separate themselves from certain circles. But then the sacrifice of that is then God can't get you to those greater heights. So there is someone here, and God always does infuse you back into community after he pulls you away and has into himself again. So, there are seasons of life, and there's someone here that's like nervous of taking the big step and reaching that new season because they are fearful of the separations that are going to have to incur. And so yeah, there's just something here. I feel like a lot more relationships would also be a lot healthier if they weren't trying to understand their partner, but if they could just appreciate and love their partner exactly as God designed them as is. And if you can't love and accept and embrace without trying to understand, without trying to fix or change, then release them and allow them to be with someone who will love them as they are, because that is love. Bless you.